Guys, welcome back to Real Talk right here at NABOR. I'm your host, Sid Fernandez, and once again, we've brought one of our members right here for you guys to see and to be able to speak to, be able to get to know. This young lady comes from actually a very, very new place, which is Illinois, something we don't hear too frequently. All you Kansas Cityans and you Michigans, that's right, someone from somewhere else. But we're humbled enough to bring Becky Smith in. Not only is Becky a new member, but she's someone who took the time to write a beautiful piece, something that was very emotional, something that was authentic, and I think that really touches a lot of people on this coast after what happened during Hurricane Ian. And though this conversation is not going to be about the troubles and the terror, which we can speak about for days, but this I think is a very cool conversation to be had with someone who went through something very, very new. And I think a lot of people who have made their way down to Florida in the last 2 years can really relate. So Becky, thank you so much for being here first and foremost.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. It's never a problem going to Naples. That is
I know
a joy.
Yeah, it's super terrible, especially in these months up in Illinois,
Yes.
right?
November in Naples. I'll take it. Yeah.
I bet. So before we get into a little bit about the newsletter, we want to get to know you a little bit. So, Wade had mentioned to me you're a brand new member. So when did you first sign up with NABOR?
Well, I've been a realtor up in Illinois, a western suburb of Chicago, Geneva, Illinois in particular. They call it the Fox Valley, for 8 years. And then there was no plan in motion, but my daughter and I always were coming down to Florida to take little trips and just kind of fell in love with it. And she was living with me and had saved a lot of money. I'm like, honey, you need to buy a house, do something with your money. So we bought in Venice and love it. And then since I'm kind of hyperactive, I'm like, I need to do something. So I'll just get my license down here. We're a mutual recognition state. So that's what started it. I got my license in July and been going back and forth on a few deals already. So that's how I ended up here. And so far, I absolutely love it.
So your daughter, so did you ever do business in the state before your daughter moved down here to Venice?
I did not.
So this is, we're talking about fresh.
Freshly new, yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
fresh.
Yeah.
What has brought you, because your daughter lives in Venice, which is not too far away. It isn't, it's like
not
2
too
hours if
far
I'm
away at all.
mistaken, right?
Yeah.
What brought you so much farther south to Naples, Bonita, Fort Myers, this area?
When I decided to get my license, because I knew I love what I do, absolutely adore real estate, and I can't imagine ever not doing it. So it just made sense for me to get my license down here. And then I was thinking of, well, the company I'm with up in Chicago, Beard & Warner, has been in Chicago only since 1855. They only work Chicago. It's the oldest real estate agency in the world.
That's not too long.
So they're really amazing. So I'm like, I got to find another agency in Florida to match the quality of Beard & Warner. Then almost simultaneously, they're like, hey, we're going to open up an office in Naples. So that's how I end up in Naples rather than Venice because I'm following Beard & Warner.
That's called perfect timing for those at home.
It's called perfect timing.
Perfect
yeah.
timing.
Thank you.
Now, your career didn't start off as a realtor. You were an interior designer for a specific time. It was really funny because when she walked in here, I started rattling some facts off. She looked at me like, okay, well, you're CIA. I'm going to be out. We almost didn't have this interview. First of all, how did you get into interior decorating? And then how did you segue from that into becoming a realtor?
I love homes, and when I've always enjoyed decorating and style and all that stuff. So I had my bonus child. I have 5 children, and then had my bonus child 10 years later. And I thought, I can't wait any longer to start a career. So interior decorating is something I can do while raising this little boy. So I just kind of got it going, was doing that, and then after a couple years, I thought, I know what I want to be. If I'm a real estate agent, I have the key to go in people's houses and look at them. How fun is that? So I'm like, I want to be a real estate agent. And it was absolutely the perfect move. So I can use all my interior decorating skills as a real estate agent. It's a total bonus. So.
You know what do they say about the cats, about the curiosity killed the cat? It didn't kill you. It seems like it really forward you in your career. It was perfect, right?
Yeah, no, it totally worked.
So are you still being able to mix both, and have you continued to follow both paths, both as a realtor and interior decorator?
Definitely. I am, I kind of do my own staging for homes. Some jobs are too big. Like I have, up in Illinois, I have this Mary Todd Lincoln home, 1865 in Batavia, Illinois. And that was a little too brutal for me to decorate, because how do you make it look livable for a modern family, yet bring out all the absolutely, like 12-foot ceilings, crown molding that's 3 feet. It's just absolutely stunning. But I think you're hit by the whole museum thing of it. So I had to bring a real stager in to bring in furniture to make it look livable for modern families. So, but other than that, the little things, like I have a whole room in my house full of decorating stuff, lamps, rugs, chairs, you name it. So.
What's been one of the more interesting stories? Aside, I mean,
Oh,
that's an interesting one, but I want you to pick one that really resonates with you when it comes to walking in and being like, oh no. Like the Bible, maybe the Torah. We may need more holy books to make sure we can get this revamped to get sold.
Yeah, more prayers. Yeah. There's I know this is one of those questions that at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be like, oh, I know what I should have said.
Of course.
I have some funny stories. I don't know necessarily if they're, there's many homes I walk into and I think, now how am I going to do this? Because some people like, they love their stuff. And I appreciate that. Everyone's themselves. That's a joy of it.
Amen.
Of homes. Everyone makes it their own. And that's just the coolest thing in the world. So I had to come in, make it not your home while it's still your home. And many times I ask for help. I also have another little person who I just call in. It's like, can you go with me through this home? And you be the bad guy, I'll be the good guy. So it's like, oh, you have to take those curtains down. You have to change those pillows out. So I'll do something like that. But I can't think of a specific story.
Here's one.
You got
Here's
one.
one.
Okay.
Instead of a story, I'm going to ask you this question. Was there ever a home you walked into and you looked at the design or the interior design of it, and at initial glance it was like, oh, this is rough, but there was something that you saw that you never thought would go together? I was like, man, that really works. That was something that you yourself came in never thinking that it would work. Like, huh, that's interesting. And you've been able to take it and maybe use it for another home. Have you ever had that instance? That's a very deep question this early.
It's really deep, but I will answer it this way. I have seen some little things. I know it's super popular to paint the interior windows black, like that black trim. And I've never had the courage to do that myself, but to see it in magazine, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Well, I did just recently go in a home that had that. And my client was like, oh, look, the trim is painted black. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. You should like this because it's very modern.
Everyone wants that. Have you looked at Instagram?
Things like, and floating shelves is something that I love the look of. Is it practical? Not sure.
Oh my God, every time my wife looks at me with those shelves, I was like, no.
Yeah. Now I have to keep everything clean and matching because it's out there for everyone to see.
Of course, and then it's always adjusting, turning in the screws, putting back out, because there's too much of a gap. They're leaning, they're up, I can't anymore, I can't do this anymore. I just chuck the shelves out and they're floating outside. That's what happens.
There you go, perfect. I love that.
Okay, no more jokes on the interior design. Let's get into one of the reasons why you're here. You had taken the time, and though we see a lot of newsletters that get written, a lot of them seen it's like rinse, wash, and repeat.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. The newsletter was sent to me by Wade, and what obviously got you some notoriety here in the area was about your experience during Ian. Now, before we get into that specific storm, have you ever been through a hurricane yourself here?
Nope.
So first timer.
Never.
So she got the scout badge, scouting badge on that one. Yes. First and foremost, let me talk to you as being someone brand new to this experience, right? And I mean, I know about Wade, but I've been through. This is my 8th hurricane, and I have 2 typhoons. Yeah, so that bingo card's full. How was it from the beginning stages of knowing the storm's coming? Let's say 5 days out, because that's really where that window is like, people's sphincters are starting to kind of little pucker. You know what I'm saying? How was that for you?
I think that's exactly probably one of the worst parts of a hurricane is you don't know. You don't know the whole way up, like, is this going to be a bad enough one that I should evacuate? Is this going to, how far it's coming in? How big's the surge? How big's the wind? Where's the eye going to fall? And I learned that through being here first time. We had the Weather Channel on, and I'm like, I don't know. They don't know. We don't know. I don't know. What do we do? I don't know. And then so we decided, since we don't know, we'll evacuate. Clearly, that's the smarter thing to do. When you don't know what you're doing, just get out.
And what area
we were
you?
In Venice, which was...
So you were in Venice during this entire thing?
Which was, for a while, going to be the eye of the hurricane.
Correct.
So then, once we had evacuated, the not knowing of what you're going to see when you get home, that was scary too. Like, the whole time, you just don't know. Am I going to have a house left? Am I going to have part of a house? Are my windows bashed in? I mean, am I flooded? You just don't know. So that part was kind of scary too.
What did you do to pass the time? Because I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you stress, you worry, you anxious eat, you want to have a glass of wine, but really, what allowed you to at least take a breath?
I will tell you, we had an evacuation. We made up a new word, evacuation.
Hashtag it.
And we evacuated to Fort Lauderdale and had a lovely couple days vacation. Except for the worry on our mind, like what are we going to find when we get home, and just watch, it was constant news. Everyone at the hotel we were at were evacuees.
So a lot of the people in the same situation did
Absolutely, everyone in that hotel.
And that had to have at least given you a little bit of peace, that obviously that whole not alone thing, there definitely is a community of people that are going through the exact same thing.
Absolutely. And so the TVs were always on in the breakfast room, wherever, like showing what was going on and damage. So we were, there was always in the background that was happening. But that started that whole sense of camaraderie too, where you're just like, okay, we're all in this together, and not to use talk about an awful phrase, but I mean, we were all going through something as human beings, as Floridians, whatever. So, and everyone was absolutely delightful. Smiles on their faces. Someone needs a hand. There's just not a harsh word. It was very lovely.
Obviously, that's probably the bigger part of the newsletter, because you made it a very big point to not get into the details of the destruction, because we can go through that for years. I mean, honestly, the devastation, the dark cloud that really hung over for a bit of time during when the storm was here. But me personally, as dark as that cloud was, and I think as dark as the cloud was when people really realized how bad this was, there was this beauty that broke through that darkness, right? And I think that is what people want to cling to, is the part where you really start to get into the Costco line, right? When you talk about the gas shortage, which I think a lot of people understand. So run me through it again, being someone brand new to this, walk me through that and seeing that part.
Like, I literally didn't even know, like, oh, you mean the grocery stores aren't open when I get back to Venice? I'm like, no, dummy, there's been a hurricane. Like, there's no electricity, there's no water. Then the people who work at the grocery store have evacuated. So just the whole like, whoa, what do I do? You know what I mean? And then like the whole no gas thing was crazy. So in my mind, I'm realizing, whoa, I'm starting at zero. We have nothing here as we come back. We have a house that's intact, which was the best thing. The rest will come. No internet, no water, so no gas. So that Saturday morning, our electricity did go on actually that Friday night, so that was good. But that Saturday morning, I thought, I'm gonna go get gas. So I went out to get gasoline, and I'm driving 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and everyone, you can see them go in the gas station, keep going. It's like, I'm like, uh-oh, should I go home? Like, can't go home because I just wasted this gas trying to find gas going north. I knew if I go north, I'll find something, because the hurricane didn't really hit too much further north. So I get this gas station. The guy's like, hey, Costco is letting anyone come and get gas. Just go, go to Costco. It's right up the road. Go get your gas there. So it's like, yay. And so we get in line, tons of people. And we're just going through line. And I don't know why, but they had all the gas pumps manned with a Costco worker. And they were ready and willing with their Costco card. You have a Costco card? You don't? Oh, here, let me do mine. And they filled it up for you. It was like, I don't even have a Costco card. They were just absolutely precious, delightful. No one honked at anyone else. No one. There's some people in their pickup trucks that had tons of gas cans they had to fill up. No one got mad about it. It's like, I don't know, maybe you're helping your neighbor. Maybe you're bringing gas back for a neighborhood. I mean, just that whole sense of whatever we're all going through, we're all just going to put a smile on our face. And sometimes I think that's what some people needed that day. Just a smile. Just someone smiling at them.
I couldn't agree more. I think it sucks at times like that. And I always tell people it's always moments like this that bring people the closest together, because they get rid of all the nonsense. There was no red and blue. There was no Republican, Democrat. There wasn't
black,
white, Asian, this,
Christian.
that. It didn't matter. You were either a helper or a victim. Mm-hmm. That's all there was. And people were helping consistently. I mean, there were groups of people that were literally setting up shop in warehouses at the airport. These are people that I know that were just nonstop collecting. There were droves of people in the real estate industry who came from the East Coast, who made multiple runs with 18-wheelers. It's something that we talk about amongst us and we argue so much, but I feel that if we just stopped the arguing and just looked at the ability to do things and to overcome it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we as a community can do.
And how powerful that is.
It is, because listen, the one thing I think is, the one thing that goes when the lights in our eyes go away is hope. Yeah. And you can tell when you walked around, that was on the hinge. It was like one string away, but every time someone came to say hello, another person with a bottle of water, another person with a blanket, another person with a t-shirt, with hands, with gloves, with tool belts, it was beautiful. Yeah. I was blessed, like yourself, blessed that my house was not touched. Came to the coast to be able to help people, and to see the amount of people that were there that you know these people? No clue who they are. It's just, that's the beauty of this all. And sadly enough, a lot of times we need these moments, these little tragedies to really figure out the resolve of us in humans, and we need to reinstill that hope that we're not as bad as what Twitter tells you, Facebook tells you.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of beauty in people, and when we can put all that crap aside, excuse my language, it's really awesome. It's really, really awesome.
Now, you nailed it. That's exactly right.
And in Illinois, I know you guys deal with snow. That's a known fact. But are there any other disaster type stuff that happens that could have at least given you some maybe mental fortification, like I can get through this because we've been through something that's similar? Have you guys ever gone through that?
I feel like this hurricane thing is just so widespread. Just like having to go that far just to find gasoline. Like in the hurricane thing, you know, a blizzard. We know those snowplows are coming. We store up for food for a couple of days. It's, you know, I don't, or you go a little further and the blizzard wasn't that bad. Or, you know what I mean? This was
absolutely.
just like, what? This is crazy. The whole Southwest Gulf Coast, you know what I mean? That's what was just like mentally like overwhelming. It was just nuts.
Now, after obviously seeing all these things, and I almost feel like you went back home, I was like, man, I feel, obviously the devastation sucks, but this feels good. Like this, there was just something bright about today. And I think we try to stack those up. Hey, today was a bright day. What's the next day gonna bring? Yeah. But today was bright. Awesome, that's great. For you, I think you were supposed to take a class to prepare.
Yes.
For a hurricane.
Yeah.
And guess what? Mother Nature gave her a class for real. So for you, those boards of realtors or organizations, forget about real estate. Let's make this widespread. How important do you think preparation or these courses, especially for those that never done this before, how important do you think that is to be able to teach to others, to be able to teach how to protect themselves before the hurricane or whatever disaster comes?
Oh, 100. It's totally the whole name of the game to like know what to do. But I love. I was talking to another as coming in, Elizabeth, and she had said she's lived her whole life and been through 11. I don't whatever she said hurricanes. She goes, it's just up to the person. We don't know how someone feels. Some people like go through them. They're like, just don't want to do it again. I'll go on evacuation. I'm just not gonna do it again. So, but to know what's ahead of you, to me, that's the name of the game. And that's what was scary for me, because it's like, what is going on? No one even knows where their storm is going, what havoc it's gonna wreak across the area. No one knows. And what's gonna be left in its wake. Who knows? And to me, that's the scary part. But if you're prepared a little, that's huge.
I think the preparation, does a lot more for obviously the stress level as you're going through it or in preparation for it to come. Because listen, at the end of the day, it's going to do what it's going to do. I mean, that storm probably had 9 different directions that it was supposed to go in, and it probably didn't do any of them. And I think as a Floridian, there's a lot of complacency with us. We've gone through so many storms, and you almost start to lose respect for Mother Nature, but we tend to forget how strong Mother Nature can be when she wants to rule with an iron fist. Lessons that you're going to take moving on, and not just for the hurricane preparedness, but maybe even something in your own personal life, something that may have humbled you, maybe something that, you know what, I'm going to change my frame of being because of what I saw today. Was there something that you had, a moment like that during the time? And you kind of touched on it a few minutes ago, but just, you never know when someone's going to need a smile. You never know, and it's so small, right? To just like smile at someone rather than, I'm having a bad day and you're going to be privy to that because I'm going to make your day bad too by crapping at you. And instead of just put a smile on your face. Someone dropped something, pick it up for my hand. Just the tiniest acts of kindness to me have huge ramifications. And that was brought home to me again. And
I don't know about everyone else, but I need to keep being reminded of that the small things really matter a lot.
There are I think the small things are the grounding moments. We tend to levitate. Life like wants you to just kind of float without your feet down the ground.
Yeah.
And those small moments, I truly believe, are the biggest grounding moments that we have. They're so tiny.
So tiny.
So tiny. Like, hey, good morning, how are you? Great smile. And walk
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
And just leave them with it. It's like,
Yeah.
that was so
Yeah.
sweet. Or
Yeah, yeah.
he's a weirdo. Probably should be locked
And that's
up.
kind of fun too.
So, okay, your first 6 months of being a licensed realtor in Florida. I don't even think you hit 6 months.
I don't think I have.
Licensed in July, you told me, right?
Beginning of July, whatever, July.
Yeah, whatever it
Let's
was.
just say July.
Within pretty much your warranty period, your 90-day period. You went through a storm, right?
Yeah.
What is something that you're excited about in this as you complete your first real year in Florida? And though you live part-time like many people do here in Southwest Florida, what's the one thing you're really looking forward to, whether it's a learning moment or something you're looking forward to experiencing?
At the risk of sounding boring,
Sure, be boring.
I'm going to risk it. I love houses, and the houses are different here, and the living's different here. You might get a condo with a Gulf Coast view. And just the cute little houses with it's different, And so like that's really fun and exciting for me to like, what's Florida houses like? So to me, it's just like a kid in a candy store. I'm just having the best time being down here and helping people. There's a lot of people up there that want a part-time like condo or something down here, so I'm having fun with that. And then to help the people here who want to move to a bigger home, smaller home, whatever, different towns.
So how are you going to do your job when your homes are built not in the 1800s? Like Colonel Custer didn't build the ones down here, so how does that
That's
feel?
the easy part. I've done the hard one now. But I accept that challenge. I am going to. My goal in the next year is to sell or list a historical house in Florida. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you for that.
Book it.
Book it.
Book it. She's gonna hit the permitting office to see which one has the ancestor.
oldest.
Was it the antique home label? She's like, I'm gonna get that one.
Yeah.
I get that one. But antique here is
specialty.
like 1950. I'm just kidding. So
That's okay. I like mid-century modern.
I think 1920s is where you'll find something. So I want to end also on another light note, something again very beautiful, a gesture that you're doing. You had said you're going to give half of your first commission to a specific fund that you backed after the damage and after the destruction that you saw. I think you believe it's the Florida Disaster Fund. Yes, I take notes because I'm not trying to mess anything up. Why did you decide to give to them, if I may ask?
You know what? Governor DeSantis had mentioned it when he was just talking about having the emergency vehicles ready, all this stuff he's going to have ready, and he had said if you want to give, that'll get spread out to everyone, give to that. So I thought, okay, that sounds, instead of some individual little ones where you're not sure sometimes where your money's going.
Absolutely.
I thought since the governor of the state of Florida backed it and is saying these funds are going to be spread around the entire area, whoever needs it, I thought that's where I want my money to go.
I think it's very sweet of you to do that. And again, you're part of a list of a lot of people who really came out, and not just obviously financially, but people who gave their time, and people who are still doing it. We're not talking about it a lot, but there's still very much people on the ground right now doing whatever your religion is, the Lord's work, because to me, they really are, those people are truly holy because they're just taking time out of their own lives to make sure that someone else is happy. So
absolutely.
Beck, for someone who may come to meet you, maybe never seen you before, maybe a little bit apprehensive or a little bit slow, tell them really quick why they should come up and say what's up to Becky Smith.
Why they should come up and say hi to me?
You're darn right. Why should they say that aside from your new video journey on social media?
I'm kind of a lot of fun and funny, and I make friends easily. So come up, say hey, and see where that goes. We'll be friends.
I love it. And she actually brings her own entourage. Though she can't see her, her daughter's in the background right here coaching.
Who's also
up.
a real estate agent.
She threw one thing at me off camera when I messed up, so that's why I had the notes here. So, listen, Becky, thank you so much, first of all, for writing the article after what you experienced. I think sharing stories is one of the biggest powers that we have as people. Yeah. Being able to share it to create these connections to other people. I think that more stories will continue to come out. But just thank you so much for having written it, especially being for someone so new in this area. I didn't ask you about your experience in NABOR, and that was my apology, so we're going to do that now.
Okay.
Since joining NABOR,
yes.
How have things gone for you personally? What are some of the things that stand out from your experiences here? If there hasn't
Because
been
I
much,
do,
okay.
well, because I'm back and forth frequently, so I'm in Illinois trying to, do listings and stuff like that. Here, they're super over the top helpful. I've never had to wait long for if I have a question. Their classes are amazing. Learn a lot. Their instructors are wonderful. So I just think that keep up the good work. Because for someone who's like fresh in the Florida market and state of Florida, not necessarily in real estate, which helps going into like I get real estate and just let's see what's going on here. But I'm telling you, everyone's so helpful and kind and gets back to me right away. So
I think the fact that we here in NABOR, we have a 7-minute drive to the beach in the case we ever get upset, that usually seems to settle us right in.
oh, I get it now. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Everyone here has a pair of board shorts and some suntan lotion just in case it's a bad day. Listen, Beck, thank you so much for being here with us. I really do appreciate it. All right?
Thanks for asking me.
And absolutely, please. And for those watching, guys, thank you guys so much for continuing to watch our show, continue to laugh, continue to comment. This is really meant not just to introduce you guys to those that continue to make the world churn here at NABOR, but as well as those that are making the community churn. So thank you once again to you, Beck, and to you guys again. As we always say, please be good to yourselves, be good to one another, and lastly, make today your best, guys. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time on Real Talk.